Sacred trust is the absolute foundation of all that we do at the prayer room. It's the way that we keep our prayer ministry going. It's the way that we ensure that there are people in prayer meetings and how we form our teams and how we know when we can add our schedule or grow the number of meetings that we've got. And so the sacred trust is something that's so important that we all understand the value of it and why we do it and why it's something that we have everybody that's a part of the prayer room participate in. First of all, there's the term, the sacred trust, to kind of demystify that a little bit. We actually grabbed some of that same language out of 1 Chronicles chapter 9 when King David was describing the way that he ran his tabernacle and all the singers and the musicians and the gatekeepers and how they all functioned and flowed together. And it just says this in 1 Chronicles 9, verse 22. It says, and the chosen gatekeepers had been assigned to their positions of trust by David and Samuel the seer. Now, when it breaks down to it, King David is running a prayer ministry that's going 24/7. And he's trying to figure out how do we make sure that we've got guys there in the morning and in the middle of the night and who takes care of what responsibilities at what times during the day. And in order to be able to make sure that all of that was handled well and that the ball wasn't dropped anywhere, that they were actually able to keep the fire on the altar, they had to assign positions of trust. And those positions wound up becoming these different people's responsibilities, the things that they would do at certain times. And it really just breaks down to prayer shifts. They had certain blocks of time that they were responsible for, and they had certain duties that they would do during those blocks of time. And so that's really where we're coming from. And the reason we call it the sacred trust is it's something that we want to keep holy. We recognize we live in a generation where faithfulness has not been the norm of the day. We live in the fast food generation. We want it our way. We want it right away, and we want to be able to throw a fit if it wasn't extremely cheap or if it wasn't fast enough. And that's just not exactly how it's listed in the Scripture, that we're to be those that are faithful, that persevere. And so we've called it the sacred trust because these are positions of trust. It's important. We're trusting one another to be able to fulfill those commitments, whether it's being in the room or an usher or a singer or someone who's just taking care of some of the prep work. Maybe it's the prayer leader. Maybe you're just an intercessor that's in the room, but we're counting on each other. We're in a trust relationship that we're going to be able to serve each other in that way, and that we're going to be there together to serve the Lord. And so as we come together to form team ministry, it's important that we can lean on one another, and we consider it sacred. We consider something holy before the Lord, that we make these commitments for these prayer meetings before the Lord to say, Lord, this is one time per week that you can count on me, or 2 or 3. Some of our staff are doing a bunch of meetings. But the point is that they would be meetings that we would keep holy, that we would be intentional about not scheduling other things, that when opportunities present themselves to go to the baseball game or to go by the friend's birthday party, that we would say, this thing is sacred to me. I'm going to be at my prayer meeting. This is a meeting that I signed up for before the Lord. And so unless you're out of town or unless you've got a family emergency or you're really ill, we say that, hey, if you signed up on the sacred trust, you're there. And you make sure to get somebody to fill in for you if you're going to miss out and you have any responsibilities, if you are going to be out of town, or if there is an emergency that comes up. Things like that are totally understandable. But we just want to treat it as a sacred thing so that we can continue to build night and day prayer.